Welcome to Office Hours. I'm Bryan.
And I'm Shad.
We're here on Office Hours, the show where we get Ram Radio employees and longtime volunteers, former employees like Shad, to come in the studio and talk with us and have a good conversation. So
I actually literally learned about this earlier today, and I was like, this sounds awesome. I'd like to.
This show is great.
I'd like to see what this is.
This show's great.
It reminds me of like a Harry show last week, where it was just like he talked about random topics.
Yeah.
But instead of random topics, you're talking with like a guest about random things.
Well, I think the thing with Open Book, last time we did this, I accidentally closed it as Open Book the first time. Yeah, we're gonna have to cut it out. It was great. I think the difference between Office Hours and Open Book is the same hosts every time.
Yeah.
It's like me and Harry with very few exceptions. And that's more about us, so it's more about the topic. Whereas I think this show is more about the people.
Yeah.
Right? So, speaking of the people, Shad, some of our viewers might not know who you are. You don't got to give us the full biography, but just like tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so this is actually my second year at ASU.
Mm-hmm.
My first year, I was on Ram Radio as like probably one of the most prominent DJs. I came up with a bunch of couple of different shows like Ram Relations.
A bunch of the shows we still have. Yeah.
A bunch of the shows we still have. I helped kind of like create the idea of, and then I helped out with Tales of Cryptid, and then later on kind of like took it over.
Yeah.
And since I'm an RA, I can't be a DJ this year, so I've been doing a bunch of volunteer work instead for keeping Ram Relations and Tales of the Cryptid alive.
I think they probably will have seen you. I think our Ram Relations has gone up, and probably your Tales of the Cryptid with AJ is up.
Yeah, that probably sounds right.
Yeah. So that they've probably seen you, but I don't think we've ever actually like introduced you formally. Were you on much recorded or live stuff last year?
Recording the live stuff?
I know you're on Ram Relations like every time, but
yeah, I was. We had a lot of like podcasts for Ram Relations and Tales from the Cryptid.
Yeah,
but other than that,
well, a bunch of those don't exist anymore for reasons that are beyond you.
Yeah.
So
unfortunately, a lot of my work has vanished.
Yeah.
But that's good because we can No, I'm kidding. Anyways.
That's good. We can re-record it. We can summon people back from the void beyond comprehension.
Back from the void of copyright.
Yep. All right, Shad. Halloween was yesterday.
Yes.
Is Halloween big in your family?
Halloween's not big with my parents, but I've always really liked Halloween.
I'm kind of in the opposite boat. My family loves Halloween, but it kind of never caught for me.
Yeah. I feel like what was more the reason why it caught on for me is because I was able to dress up and actually play as a character for a day basically.
Well, and continue.
And I'm one of those D&D nerds. I've
totally
gotten into that in the last couple of years. So I'm somebody if I'm dressing up as somebody, I might get into character for my friends with a joke every now and then. And I do voice impressions, so that's just a double whammy right there.
Yeah.
But
Halloween was never huge in my town, so we didn't do much for it. Well, it got bigger as my town got bigger, but we didn't have a trunk or treat or anything like that until I was 13 or 14.
Yeah.
And my neighborhood was very bad for trick or treating because they're all grumpy old people who hate kids.
Yeah. They'd give you the old mints.
Yeah, or they'd just turn their porch light off and not answer the door for anyone.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Were you in anything for Halloween this year? Any fun, goofy character?
So I wasn't able to do anything this year for Halloween just because of how hectic my schedule was. But next year,
you're an RA, I get that.
Yeah, but next year I do plan on dressing up as somebody. I'm currently deciding between a couple of different ideas, but
I think you could pull off a very good Lee Harvey Oswald.
Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah. And then you got to get someone else. This would be a great doubles costume idea. You could be Lee Harvey Oswald and the guy who actually shot Kennedy. That'd be such a good Halloween. No one would get it, but it'd be so funny once you explain it.
That would be so awful. It's just who are you? I'm a fraud.
I'm a fraud.
I didn't actually do what people know me for.
I'm the fall guy,
I'm the scapegoat.
Moving swiftly along. Speaking of Lee Harvey Oswald, Shad, is there a conspiracy theory you believe?
Okay.
Do you like? Please don't tell me you think the moon landing is fake, but something like kind of that.
I believe in the moon landing just because I feel like with how much stress and like pressure there was between the countries, I feel like they would probably be able to figure out because
if we faked
this is during the Cold War. Russia and America were passively competing against each other to see who could win the space race.
If we faked the moon landing, the Russians would have found out.
They would have noticed. They would have been like, "Hey, something's not up. Something's not right. You gotta. I can see the light in the background."
Yeah. Well, and also something I have been told, and I'm not sure if it's true, is faking it in 1969 or 68 would have been harder than actually going to the moon.
Yeah, especially when you add in the fact that like in the 1960s, our knowledge of like space travel was so like. People will say this is against them. It's like we haven't like sent a rocket to the moon in like decades. Why haven't we gone back? Right? My like thought process behind that is one. It's the moon. There's nothing like we gain out of going there. It's literally just a giant rock. We've already been there. We've gotten pictures. Most we could do is like go back there with like a rover to get more like space material. Right?
Yeah, we know what's in there.
We know it's there. And that's actually that'll get into my conspiracy theory in a minute.
Okay.
But two, they were so like less advanced in their space knowledge that they were what they thought was like, oh, this is fine, this is like safe, right? They go back and they're like, how did that thing make it to the moon and back?
Yeah, how did that work?
They're like, how did we do that? That was made from a soda can.
Well, yeah, like the original moon lander is like basically metal foil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're like, how did they survive?
Well, 'cause I believe it's non-pressurized.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like it's basically just out in space. It's like to prevent you from getting hit by moon rocks. Like
if like a single moon rock showed up, an asteroid show up, or like a little like they got into the shower or something. They'd be toast.
Done. Like just the landing gear breaks and then the entire thing just rips. Yeah.
But yeah. So I don't believe in the conspiracy theory that the moon landing was fake. The conspiracy theory I do believe in, though, is that during they saw something up there that they did not like seeing. Like they might have seen aliens, whatever. They saw something on there, and it made them quickly get out. Because if you look into like the data logs and like the communication like line between the two. The people, I think it's like Apollo 13.
Yeah.
People from Apollo 13 and like NASA. There's about like a 6 or 7 minute like communications are down. Like they can't like communicate with one another. And within those 7 minutes, like 6-7 minutes, we hear the astronauts go from like, oh, I want to explore this whole place. I want to put the flag down. I want to like do all this crazy stuff, right? From that, 6 minutes later to let's just put the flag down and go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's not a lot there, though.
There's not a lot there. But the conspiracy theory that goes that, like, there's like, something living on the moon that we didn't know about. And that when the 3 astronauts landed and saw it, they were so spooked that they're like, we're getting out of here.
So then why did they keep sending missions? Why did they keep sending Apollo missions?
Why didn't they keep sending missions?
No, why did they?
Why did they? That's the question. We don't know. Maybe the missions kept going out to like see if they could learn more about them. And if they did, obviously, that'd be classified information. We would never know about it. But, yeah, that's just like it's just like what happened in that like 6 minute time span. Like actually.
Well, that's like one of the ones I'm kind of believing is things with massive evidence, like the fact the CIA totally killed Kennedy. That's the one I believe, by the way. Or stuff that's just like weird little enigmas where we can never know what happened.
Yeah. You know, there's actually, that reminds me of this like comment that somebody made in like a post a while ago on like Reddit or whatever.
Yeah.
But they're like, time travel. It was like, we would never know if time travel happened because, let's say that it was like the butterfly effect where like something different happens and like it caused like a massive change in the timeline. It was like, we would never know time travel happened unless we actively did it because we would always be like, right now we are in the best possible timeline for like humanity's progress, right? That's like the theory that they were going with.
Yeah.
And they're like, if that's the case, what like part of history scares you the most in that in that sense, right? And like that's like, for example, like World War II, right?
Yeah.
Or even like the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand, right?
Yeah, so if we are living in a theoretical
best
time
timeline,
travel existing timeline,
yeah, what could be worse than World War II?
the Bronze Age collapse?
Yeah, but it's like, what could be? It's like okay, if they like stopped Hitler from like getting in power, or like they did something or another,
Or they Operation Valkyried him in 1942, whatever.
yeah, they did something and like he no longer like had that happen. Something bigger must have happened to counterbalance that.
I mean, or maybe they're taking the approach of the time stream is very delicate, you
We don't know what would
the
happen.
butterfly's wings, and potentially this time traveling civilization is just very loath to change anything.
Yeah,
So even when bad things happen, they don't want to change things because, like, let's say if I change. Have you heard like the classic butterfly paradox?
yeah. Or it's
where
like a butterfly flaps its wings,
and
and
then,
somewhere else it's like a tornado.
There's a hurricane, right?
Or hurricane.
Or if you read, it's a Ray Bradbury short story. I forgot the one, but basically, in this short story, they invent time travel and they go back and hunt dinosaurs. And one guy accidentally leaves a shell casing from his gun in the Jurassic period, and they come back and they time travel back, and the world is entirely different. Like, everything about the world is just completely different. It's not even close, right? Like, there's like Romans in North America type beat, right? It's not even called North America anymore. It's called
Yeah.
something else. But
North Rome.
West Rome or whatever.
West
yeah,
Rome. Northwest Rome.
Northwest Rome.
Southwest Rome.
Quebec.
Quebec.
The true heirs to the Roman Empire, the Quebecois.
But no, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
And the reason why I brought up like the World War II thing is if you look at like Hitler's like time and power, there were several assassination attempts that happened on him.
Oh yeah, 2 or 3.
Yeah, at least. And he avoided all of them by happenstance. Most
He
of them were
avoided
like,
Operation Valkyrie by basically good luck.
yeah, some of them were like literally he just like arrived late, or he just decided last minute that they wanted to change the location.
Yeah.
And then like during the time that they were there, like an explosion goes off.
Yeah, the classic bomb briefcase, and they move the meeting from a bunker to like a house.
Yeah.
Like they just meet in some guy's house.
They
And
literally
the
they were
bomb
just-
goes off at one end of the room, and Hitler's at the other end. If he was in the bunker, it would have killed him.
Yeah.
But it's in the house, and he's completely fine.
Yeah. Like stuff like that, it's like that almost seems like somebody like going back in time and stopping that from happening.
Well, but also, I think this happens to sort of every political figure, right? Like, involved in everything like this is a significant amount of good luck.
Yeah.
It's it's why I sort of don't agree with the kill baby Hitler thing, because if you kill Hitler,
Something
you're
else
just
will-
gonna get Ernst Thälmann instead.
Yeah, you're gonna get someone else, and then they're gonna be like, "Man, we should have never killed Hitler."
It's like, man, this guy's worse. Like,
Yeah.
well, Thälmann would have been better. Like, his Thälmann's less crazy, but
Well, I mean,
actually, Thälmann might have been worse because he's less crazy.
Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Well, no, but Hitler
Whatever
was
that
like
is.
bonkers.
Yeah,
Like, Hitler had a bunch of weird crap going on at the end of his life.
all of that because he failed art school.
They wouldn't let him into the art school in Vienna, and then he's just like, man,
Fun fact: if you look at like, I've actually like seen like
oh, his paintings suck.
Well, it's not even that they suck. It's like they're not bad. Like, they're good, but they're not like great.
Yeah.
And his main reason why the art school failed him or like wouldn't accept him is because he refused to like draw people. He wanted to like draw like landscapes.
Yeah. He wouldn't paint people, yeah. Well, because I've seen some of his paintings. Have you seen the episode of It's Always Sunny with the dog painting?
I have not.
Okay, watch that at some point. But, like, one of actual, like, known artworks of Hitler's that's in a museum somewhere now.
Yeah.
Because he's Hitler, right? Like, it's a building, and one of the key details I remember is the windows and door. Like, the building's painted pretty well, but the windows and doors are so weird and out of proportion. And for certain paintings, that's like very okay. Like certain paintings, that's the point, right? Like lots of Dali's crap, like the melting clocks and stuff, right? Like that's normal for some paintings. This is like a still life. Things are supposed to look like they are real. And when the door is the size of 7 windows, either the windows are too small or the door is too big, Adolf.
Which one is it?
Which one is it, Adolf?
What?
Yeah, that is the kind of stuff your point with like Hitler and like these weird little gaps. That is something that fascinates me about history. Is just the things we'll never know.
Yeah, and then there's like I don't remember who the political figure was, but there's like an assassination attempt on somebody, and it failed. They drive like off the street and they go like somewhere else, like a completely different road.
This is Franz Ferdinand.
Yeah,
the Gavrilo Princip couldn't get a shot at him the first time, or like chickened out or whatever, and was at a cafe drinking coffee about to go back to Serbia, and the Archduke's car breaks down in front of the cafe, or like stops in front of the cafe, and he just goes, are you Archduke Franz Ferdinand? He goes, why, yes I am. And they just pulls his gun out and shoots him. It's one of the most ridiculous happenstances in the history of the world.
Yeah, no, literally, like imagine somebody like shooting, like imagine the person who like shot Kennedy missed. And so, like, he goes down, like, the road, and, like, they stop at, like, a red light or whatever, and literally just, like, a guy, stands up from the... Like, a guy just, like, sits up from the bench right next to it and goes...
Yeah. Like, it's
that's how crazy, like, happenstance that was.
It's, like, ridiculous amounts of luck.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous amounts of luck. So, and those little flashpoints also fascinate me. Like, just these little, like singular interactions that drag the whole world into something. And it doesn't have to be just wars. Like, it can be great inventions, right? Like, the guy who invented the steam engine, whoever he was, I forget who exactly gets credit for that.
Yeah. It
should probably be the Turkish, because they invented one to spin doner kebab in the 14th century, but only used it for spinning doner kebab.
That is on brand.
It's very Turkish, yes.
That is very Turkish.
They love doner kebab.
They create, like, literally a technological advancement beyond their time, and they're just like, what do you use it for? Kebab.
Spinning doner kebab. It's obvious. What else would
you use it for? And then they see, like, 4 centuries later, somebody, like, driving, or, like, somebody making, like, a steam engine train, and they're like, oh, that's what we could use it for. Yeah. Not as good as the doner kebab.
Nope. Ships worse than the doner kebab.
I mean, by far.
To be fair, I've heard doner's very good. I've never had it because it's not a thing here in the States, but I've heard it's very good.
Yeah. If you ever have doner's kebab, tell us how it is.
Leave it in the comments. If you've had doner kebab, tell us how it is in the comments. Get in the comments. Get in the comment, dude. All right. Moving forward, Shad. Is there a piece of media, movies, film, TV, that has caught your attention recently? If you haven't had one recently, then just like tell us about a favorite of yours. But
yeah, so nothing has caught my attention recently, but I was talking with a friend the other day about how like important like media is for children, especially like Disney movies, because it gives them representation. And it gives them it gives some people like a role model to look up to that they wouldn't normally have in their life.
Yeah.
And my friend was telling me about how she believes that the newer Disney movies that have been coming out, like Moana, Wish, and Encanto, those are really good and beneficial for households, because before that they would have Cinderella or Little Mermaid, and it only would only targeted a certain set of people.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
I think like the quality of some of Disney's stuff has gone up.
Yeah, the quality of some has gone up, and some other places it's gone down.
Yeah, well, I think their movies are just more hit and miss, because you have stuff like Moana. I liked as an adult. That movie's just good.
Yeah, no, my dad, this is actually a funny little family story. My dad low-key watched it like 20-plus times when it came out on Netflix, and with like a month.
Yeah.
And he still really loves Moana, so my my stepmom got him like a plush of Hey Hey the chicken.
Oh, that's cute.
When she went to Disney World.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Like Moana, Luca.
Luca.
Yeah, that was my little cousins loved that movie.
Encanto. That was pretty good.
Lin-Manuel Miranda should not be allowed to make movies. But otherwise, I quite liked Encanto.
Yeah.
Some of the singing is a little forced, but that's like the musical theater freak in me coming out.
Yeah.
Like Under the Surface, they not written particularly well, and my God, that actress cannot sing. But otherwise, had some hitters. You know, I didn't hate We Don't Talk About Bruno. I liked some of the ending songs, and as a narrative, it's fairly compelling.
Yeah, I think what was
It's one of those I have some gripes with, but I'm still fairly positive on.
Yeah, I have. It's actually funny. I'm talking about Encanto. I actually haven't had the chance to watch it, but all of my friends that have watched it have said like only good things about it. So it makes it better in my mind to hear some gripes about it.
Well, and like I said, my issues don't come down to. They mostly come down to Lin-Manuel Miranda, not anyone else, right? And I have my gripes with Hamilton, both on a theater production side of things, from a person who likes hip-hop side of things, and from a political and from historical side.
I was about to say, I have issues with Hamilton, and I'm like, what? The musical was great. He's like, no, not the musical. I hate the guy.
I hate the guy. Alexander. Okay, you know what? This is what this podcast is now. Alexander Hamilton is a upper class bootlicker, and it's good he was never president. Thomas Jefferson for life. Federalists can bite me. Let's go back.
Okay, let's calm down. Brian's getting into his bag right now.
He's getting into my deep American politics bag.
He's like, if the founding fathers were alive today.
If Thomas Jefferson was alive today, he would be massively racist, but we're not going to talk about that.
You're like, he'd be massively racist, but not a lot of good it's like not a lot of politicians.
Basically, everyone was.
I don't know why it's so funny to because that reminds me of my dad. Like one time he was like, if the founding fathers were in Congress right now, he's like, they would be causing a storm, and I'm like, they would probably be shooting people in the streets, and he's like, yeah.
I mean, you know what? I'm okay with dueling. I'm so okay with dueling.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's still legal.
In some states it is, yeah.
In some states.
Mutual combat.
Mutual combat. Imagine, just being outside your house. You open the door, and you see two people, pacing.
Just, taking paces and drawing pistols.
Yeah, drawing old, 17th century flintlock pistols.
No, it'd be Glocks.
Glocks, yeah, they just plug.
just two guys in the suburbs whipping out the stick, I challenge thee to a duel, good sir. 20 pesos.
20 pesos.
And then you just
You're only supposed to shoot one. I shot one mag.
One whole magazine.
As the founding fathers intended. Alright, anyways.
Okay, that went off the rails pretty fast.
Yeah, it went off the rails, but that's because he brought up Hamilton out of his own accord.
Anyway.
He brought up Hamilton of his own accord, and then got upset from his own talking.
Got upset because I said Lin-Manuel Miranda. That's crazy. Getting back to Disney films. I feel like they haven't hit as hard. I didn't Wish.
Yeah, I haven't watched it, but I've heard that it's kind of.
I have an issue with the animation. If Wish was made for TV, it'd be very good.
Yeah,
but it's cinematic animation, and what they did with Wish as a animation enjoyer, they didn't have as many smear frames, so everything's very hard edged, and that kind of gives everything this weird 3D outline. Have you seen The Bad Guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was originally a made-for-TV movie.
Yeah,
or a short series.
Yeah, and you could kind of see it.
And when the theatrical film movie came out, almost all of it had to be reanimated.
Yeah.
To look more like traditional Western animation, to look more like that the style that's popular now, that 2.5D, lots of depth,
like Puss in Boots.
Oh yes, that style, right? That sort of DreamWorksy, Shrek originated style, right?
Yeah, and it's funny you bring up
Shrek
Shrek.
made it popular.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up Shrek because did you know that was originally the
Oh, it was the Punishment Project.
Yeah, it was a Punishment Project. It was like it was like if animators did bad, they'd be put on the Shrek project.
They got taken off Prince of Egypt to Shrek, which Prince of Egypt looks incredible.
It looks incredible.
If you haven't seen that movie, it is one of the finest displays of Western animation made this century.
It looks incredible, but the funny thing is that Shrek actually did better in the office.
Oh, Shrek did much better at the box office. Because Prince of Egypt is like a Bible story. Like, it's like serious. It's like, it's about slavery. Like, Shrek is about a funny ogre.
A funny ogre and his talking donkey companion.
Voiced by Eddie Murphy. Like no wonder Disney killed off 2D animation when, like, two of the last 3 films they did were Treasure Planet, and Prince of Egypt, both of which look incredible.
They are
Treasure Planet looks so good.
I'm pretty sure, were they hand drawn, or am I wrong?
So Treasure Planet was, okay, so this was back when Disney was still, like, very, very ahead in the animation industry. Now that stuff has shifted more towards Asia. Because Asia's adult animation industry, and I don't mean very adult animation, I mean
it's like it's made for like mature audiences.
Yes, it's made for people 16 to 25 is what I mean. Right?
So like the animation is going to be it's going to be less childish.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas in the West, that has mostly continued through stuff like Family Guy and like these sort of shows that are more about the writing, less about the animation. In places like China, Japan, Korea, they
care about both.
They care much more about the animation. It's why you see stuff like seinen anime, which is more targeted at adults. Generally looks fantastic.
Yeah,
like One Punch Man's a seinen, and its first season looks incredible.
It's a seinen?
Yeah, it was a seinen. Well, it's a seinen.
It started as a seinen, and then it got put onto Shonen Jump.
Yeah, like, okay, we can talk about One Punch Man independently, but it's kind of tragic what happened. See, the first couple arcs in the first season of the anime are fantastic.
Fantastic. Animation is, like, peak.
Oh, yeah, it's very good. It's very well animated.
And then season 2, it was still good, but, like, you could see there's, like, a quality decrease.
Getting back to Western stuff.
Yeah, getting back to Western.
Treasure Planet was the last thing Disney did with their, like, deep... I forget what it's called, but it's basically... Instead of hand-drawing what it did was it made hand-drawn movies much easier.
Yeah. Because
what you would do is you would draw one, like uniframe, and then you would have other people draw the spear frames, basically. And it was like a system they did. And it's the reason why Prince of Egypt looks incredible, because it's like the last gasp of American hand-drawn animation.
Yeah. And...
At least at the very popular level.
And what a good, like, dying breath for hand-drawn animation.
Treasure Planet and Prince of Egypt both look incredible. Yeah,
those are probably, I'll say it, like, those two, in terms of, like, quality, are probably, like, some of the Studio Ghibli films in Japan, where it's, like, just super crisp, beautiful-looking animation. Yeah,
they look incredible. Well,
and then Shrek kicked down the door.
Yeah, and then Shrek made like 15 times more money. And then they just said, "Screw it, that's what we're doing."
Yeah, they're just like, you know what? That's fine.
Well,
we're gonna talk about the gingerbread man more.
To be absolutely fair, Shrek looks pretty good.
Yeah,
for 3D animation from the 2000s, it looks very good.
Yeah, I mean, you'll go back and you'll laugh at it now when you look at it. But for the time, it was really good animation.
Yeah, like, you remember that stupid, like, Glogo Gab Galab meme?
Yeah.
The thing that's from is from 2011. And Shrek as 3D animation looks better and was made in, like, 2003.
Yeah.
Right? So we're talking about...
to be fair, wasn't that...
That was a very low budget,
yeah, that was a low
TV
budget
special, right?
TV special compared to
an extremely high budget movie. But my point here is Shrek looked very good for the time.
Yeah, for the time, it was definitely one of the best of its time.
And they even, like, still kind of... Like, my bar for animation is, does it look good today? And that is something Shrek very much passes.
Yeah.
And I think to some degree that's more about art style.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, it's definitely an interpretation. But anyways, that is all the time that we have. It was a pretty good office hour.
Yeah, it was a pretty good office 30 minutes.
Office 30 minutes, yeah. Office hour and
office half hour? I don't know.
We'll figure out the name for this short.
You read the title. I don't know what the title will be yet.
We haven't yet, but yeah. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. We will be back next week with Ram Relations instead.
Yep. Be Shad. You're having Grace on next week, right?
Yeah, I'll be having Grace on, and then next week after that, Harry will not be escaping. But
yeah, no, he'll be here eventually.
Yeah, he'll be here. Like, we're gonna have like locks added into the
he'll be like completely locked in the seat, like.
Yeah, and he's gonna be like staring at me like, let me out, and I'm like, 5 more minutes. But...
And we're just never gonna cut back to him. It's just gonna be you the whole time.
Yeah.
He's just gonna be like forced to sit in here and like boil. All right. Well,
anyways,
this has been Office Hours.
This has been Office Hours. I've been Shad.
I've been Bryan. We will see you guys next time.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the wrong camera. Bye.
Take care.